What the hell is market-oriented? This is a very good question. And this is the title of Benson Shapiro, who had an article in Harvard Business Review. It is a very simple story because we see it almost every day. It's a story about an infuriated CEO, infuriated in the sense that he was very dissatisfied with current performance. Current performance in terms of that the sales was down, the earnings were down, market share were down. What he did was that he summoned his vice presidents to the conference room, slammed his fist on the table, and asked, what the hell is going on here? Even though he didn't know what market-oriented was. He asked them to become market-oriented, and haphazardly, everybody was trying to come up with their version of what is market-oriented. The manager keeps on stirring, and different actions were taken to become market-oriented. Interestingly enough, they actually increased the performance. This story came out in 1988. Next year, the American Marketing Science Institute made a survey among the member firms, asking them what the kind of issues they thought was interesting. And there, as a top priority, came up market orientation. What is market orientation? The following year, in 1990, comes two seminal contributions by Kohli-Jaworski and Nava Slater. And from then on, the research has just been spurred. More and more research on what is market orientation. What the hell is market orientation? Now, what's really interesting is that now almost 20 years has gone since that question was posed by Benson Shapiro at the company called Wolverine. What's interesting about this story for me is that the manager admittedly doesn't know what market orientation is and gets away with it by increasing the performance. This says something very interesting about management because we see a lot of examples of managers not really knowing what they are adopting, what kind of business concept they heard or they start implementing, not really knowing what it is, keeps on stirring, and suddenly performance are yielded. This is not just for market orientation and marketing departments. This question is also interesting for management in general because management, we adopt a lot of concepts. We know business process re-engineering, total quality management. There's been a quality surge in the 80s. A lot of concepts. And we also recently see corporate branding and also lean management. A lot of concepts. What is it that makes management increase performance without really knowing what they are dealing with? Is it the invisible hand, in the sense that it has pity for the management, not knowing what they're doing, helping out? Or is there an intrinsic quality to market orientation? Something deep inside that we probably don't know, but deep inside there is an intrinsic quality about it. Now, as a scientist, we write off the invisible hand as a non-scientific phantom. So therefore, as the purpose of this research is trying to unveil the intrinsic quality of what market orientation is. And I will try to unveil the truth of it, peeling layer by layer until I get to the truth. With this purpose, it is pertinent to ask these three questions. The first question is, what initiates demand for formulating strategies for market orientation, and what basis and by whom are these strategies formulated? Second, how are strategies for market orientation implemented, and what are managerial consequences for such implementation? Furthermore, what kinds of factors influence actual implementation path? Which factors influence the difference in the performance achieved due to the market orientation? How can a proper market orientational fit improve performance? Moreover, what kind of performance can be yielded? Three questions. First, what instigates? Second, what propagates? Three, what kind of performance are yielded? How would I approach this field? Looking at it and approaching the research field, one suddenly realizes there is abundance of empiric research on the field. Abundance. So should I make an empiric research to put it on top of the amassed pile of the other ones? Or maybe it's time now, after 20 years, that maybe should make sense of what market orientation is with all the contribution made. Now, the research strategy for it is metaphorically like jigsaw puzzle, that we take all the pieces, trying to put them together to develop the grand picture of what is market orientation. For those of you who have been trying to assemble a jigsaw puzzle, knows that it's exploratory, that we start to see if we can find the borders, trying to see if we can identify some patterns, and then from there, develop the grand picture. With the exploratory process, I not just only want to study the market orientation, but I also want to study the study of market orientation. That is my own way of reflection of how all these contributions are made. So there are two contributions to this dissertation. The first one is the study of market orientation itself, and the second one is the meta-study of the market orientation. Starting with the study of market orientation. What the hell is market-oriented? The first thing is, of course, trying to define what is intrinsic to market orientation. Looking at the research, there are a lot of contributions. Trying to categorize them all into some categories. The first one is the business philosophy, which is, of course, something that was developed a long time before Shapiro's article. What's interesting is that what they are talking about, it's about managerial espousing and having the right mindset. So it's really much a question of who is at the top of the firm. But reflecting about Shapiro's story, the manager didn't know what we were talking about. Is it just simple as that he just utters the magic words, market orientation, and the performance curves arises? There are other contributions, and that is the strategic. Strategic in the sense that it's not just the high-flying credos and the words flying up there, but it's the concrete actions. Concrete actions. But wait a minute. In the case of Shapiro, he didn't have any strategy. It was just haphazardly thought. It goes further. Maybe it's not just strategy. It's not what management says. It's what the organization does. What does the organization do? Well, according to Coley and Jaworski, one of the seminal contributions, it's about the organized generation, dissemination, and responsiveness to the market intelligence. But was it really organized at Wolverine, the company which Shapiro wrote about? I don't know. Maybe it was latently. Maybe Shapiro didn't get that point. Then there are other contributions that goes even deeper, and that is the culture. It's really inherent in the culture. It is embedded in the values in the company. But wait a minute. Did they really make a cultural revolution over a couple of months? Cultural literature would maybe say it will take a longer time. Maybe all the market-oriented values are just latently lying in the organization, waiting to be awakened. Then it goes further. Then it's now to the mental models. It's not just the flying high credos, it's not the strategy, it's not what the organization does, it's not the culture. It's much deeper. It's in how we think. It's the mental models that direct our actions. Now, I could, of course, just say I would choose one of those five. But the thing is, it's interesting that all five independently from each other has proven empirically that they are related to higher performance. Maybe I should look at it in a different way. Maybe I'm not looking right.